Get dressed with me for Browns versus 49ers.
Dillon Gabriel's fiance, Zoe Caswell, is catching a ton of heat after she appeared to take shots at starting quarterback Shedeur Sanders following the team's loss to the 49ers.
They'll write a voice note. That's to my point. Keep your mouth shut, too. If your mouth shut, you ain't got access to your thumbs, and you ain't got no doggone pointer fingers, you'll be good. Wear your jersey as loud as you want to.
That's it.
But don't be no distraction, baby.
Don't do that.
The Cleveland Browns locker room isn't just tense right now. It's erupting like a broken fire hydrant, and none of it has anything to do with blown leads or shaky kickers. This mess is coming from something way louder than bad play calling. We're talking about a social media disaster so wild, so clueless, so completely out of touch with NFL reality that it might have just put a young quarterback's entire career in danger before it even had a chance to start. Dillon Gabriel, a backup quarterback hanging onto his roster spot by a thread, is suddenly in the middle of a storm that front offices are whispering about, teammates are side-eyeing, and fans can't wrap their heads around. And the craziest part is, he didn't throw a pick, didn't drop the ball, didn't even step on the field wrong. Nope.
Whether you're the girlfriend or the best friend, whether you're the mama or the daddy, whether you're the uncle or the auntie, whether you're the partner or the enemy, whether you somebody close to the source or somebody that's far away from the source, I'm going to give you some rules to live by.
His fiancée jumped onto social media and started swinging at Browns fans like she was in a rivalry game all by herself. This isn't your usual NFL drama, where people argue about arm talent reads or QB mechanics. This is a masterclass in what happens when someone forgets how fast social media can flip your world upside down, especially when you're connected to someone trying to survive in the league. One person refusing to stay quiet can sink a career faster than a broken offensive line, and that's exactly what we're watching unfold. What began as a harmless little TikTok fashion video has morphed into Cleveland's biggest off-field mess since the franchise returned to the city. Insiders are furious, executives are stunned, and nobody can believe a 2-minute video has blown up the season's entire quarterback conversation. And trust me, this story is wild from the first second to the last. It all starts with a piece of content that normally wouldn't even get a reaction. Dillon Gabriel's fiancée decides to film a "Get Ready With Me" video, the kind influencers post non-stop. You've seen them everywhere. Someone stands in a bedroom picking out outfits, trying on clothes, asking for opinions, showing off their wardrobe like they're prepping for a photo shoot instead of real life. So she's digging through her closet, pulling out different looks for the Browns game. Brown leggings, a cropped custom Browns sweatshirt, designer jeans worth more than some people's whole car payment, leather pants, big jackets, a fancy pair of boots, earmuffs, everything you'd expect in a 2-minute fashion breakdown. She's even talking it through with what looks like her mom, as if they're planning outfits for a runway show instead of a cold Sunday in Cleveland. Normally, this kind of influencer video gets a few thousand views and then disappears into the endless scroll. Nothing major, nothing controversial.
To rule number 1. Do not, in any circumstance, and I mean do not ever, make it about you.
Nothing anyone inside an NFL building would ever pay attention to. But then, she added 5 words. 5 simple words that changed the entire trajectory of this QB room. The caption read exactly, "This Browns loss, what's new?" And everything exploded after that. Think about that. The fiancé of an active Browns player, someone tied directly to the team, someone benefiting from the organization's paycheck, got online and mocked the franchise publicly. She basically told the world the Browns lose so much it isn't even surprising anymore. She acted like she's far removed from the team, instead of being connected to it through Dillon Gabriel's job and future. Some fans tried to justify it by saying maybe she was just emotional, upset about her partner sitting on the bench, or frustrated with the team's direction. Maybe she was venting. But this situation is way bigger than a frustrated partner posting online. And here's why. Dillon Gabriel isn't a franchise legend with a decade-long resume. He's not a superstar with guaranteed money who can survive the occasional PR nightmare. He's not Brady or Mahomes or a proven starter who can shrug off a scandal because everyone knows he'll deliver on Sunday. Dillon Gabriel is a backup quarterback fighting for his football life. One wrong move, one bad impression, one unnecessary distraction, and teams won't give him a second look. This man got 5 starts in Cleveland, 5 real chances to prove he deserved that QB1 job. He got first-team reps. He got the game plans. He got the trust of the coaching staff. They told him exactly what they needed from him to and after all of that, he still didn't win the job. Every advantage the quarterback behind him, Shedeur Sanders, earned it the right way. On the field, through better performance, better decision-making, and more consistency when the pressure hit. That's not politics. That's not favoritism. That's not some inside plot. That's football at its purest. In this league, you play the best guy because time is money and losing costs people jobs. So when Dillon's fiancée went on social media and basically roasted the Browns, the same organization that gave Dillon multiple chances, it wasn't just poorly timed. It was the kind of move that can shut a player's career window right when he needs it open the most. For someone in Dillon Gabriel's spot, this kind of public shot isn't just reckless, it's dangerous. Oh, this situation doesn't just get worse. It falls off a cliff the moment that video starts spreading across Browns Nation. Once fans saw the clip and felt she was disrespecting the team, the whole thing blew up like a locker room argument caught on live TV. And then a TikTok user named Leon James jumped into the comments with a harsh message that went way too far. His comment wasn't just rough. It crossed major lines, accusing her of awful behavior, bringing up Dillon's concussion, and even claiming nobody in the locker room respects him. Yes, Leon's comment was extreme, inflammatory, and the kind of thing social media veterans know not to feed into. Anyone familiar with online drama knows you scroll past a troll like that and keep moving. But Dillon Gabriel's fiancée made the classic social media mistake that turns a spark into a wildfire. Instead of ignoring the troll, taking the high road, or realizing that arguing with anonymous strangers never ends with a victory, she fired back with a direct reply.
Don't ever, 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 ever
Talk to me.
become a distraction. And here's the kicker about being a distraction.
Talk to me.
You can't tell me that you're not a distraction if you are a distraction. A distraction comes going back to rule number 1.
And that's where everything truly spiraled. Her response came in sharp and confident. Actually, everyone in the building wants him to play, but you wouldn't know that because you've never played in the NFL or been a coach. On the surface, it might look like she's just defending her fiancé, trying to protect him from ugly comments. Standing up for your partner is normal. But in the NFL world, the words you choose can hit way harder than you think. Because when you look closer at what she posted, you start to understand why people inside the building are reportedly shaken by this whole thing. First, she's speaking as if she represents the entire Browns organization. She's saying what the coaches want, what the executives want, what the players want, all like she has a headset on and a locker room key. That's a huge overstep for someone not part of the staff, not in meetings, not involved in evaluations, and definitely not in the private conversations that shape a roster. When she wrote that everyone in the building wants him to play, she basically put words into the mouths of coaches, scouts, and teammates who might not feel that way at all. And some of them could be upset that she tried to speak for them. That kind of comment can ruffle feathers in ways she probably never even imagined. Second, and this part is massive, she accidentally questioned the coaching staff's decision-making. Think about what her statement implies. If everyone supposedly wants Dillon to play, then why is he on the bench? She ended up suggesting without meaning to that the staff chose the wrong quarterback and that Shedeur Sanders shouldn't be starting. That's not a small comment. That's basically saying the decision-makers don't know what they're doing. And for someone connected to a backup quarterback, that's a dangerous lane to drift into. You never want to publicly challenge the judgment of the people who decide playing time, especially when your fiancé is trying to hang onto a job. Third, her response shows she doesn't really understand how NFL teams operate. The Browns don't choose starters based on popularity or personal support. They choose starters based on performance, consistency, and who gives them the best chance to win, or period. In pro football, it's about results, not opinions. So when she says everyone wants Dillon to play, but he still isn't playing, she unintentionally points right back to the performance reasons that put him on the bench in the first place. She meant to defend him, but she actually drew more attention to why he's not starting. She turned a small comment section argument into a talking point on sports radio. And that's the last thing a backup quarterback fighting for his career needs. This whole situation exposes something that NFL families have to understand from day one.
Oh, I just wore this because I just want to support. Hey, bro, I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, say how I feel, bro. Like, it's real, though. Hey, man, I'm just doing this just because somebody need to say it. I'm just real.
Yeah.
Because when you become a distraction, you can't even stand up to what you can say, hey, I can make it right. Somebody else will have that responsibility to do.
That's real.
You wear something that's very questionable, you do something that's very alarming, it ain't nothing that you can say, oh, I didn't mean to wear that, or hey, I ain't mean to say that. it's going to be back on that individual source.
When you're connected to a professional athlete, especially one in a fragile career spot like Dillon Gabriel, your social media presence becomes part of their resume. One post can help, or one post can hurt. And right now, this one is hurting in a major way. Your public statements become part of your partner's reputation the moment you hit post, and every interaction you have with fans, good or bad, reflects right back on them. When you criticize the same organization that signs their checks, when you jump into online fights, when you spark national headlines for the wrong reasons, you're not lifting them up at all. You're making their NFL life harder than it already is. That's exactly why so many NFL wives and girlfriends keep things quiet online or stay away from anything that could turn into drama. It's not because they don't care or don't have strong opinions. It's because they understand how this business works. They know that anything that creates distractions or puts the organization in a tough spot can seriously affect their partner's future in the league. NFL teams already juggle game plans, injuries, roster cuts, travel, and everything else that comes with running a massive franchise. The last thing they want is to babysit social media fights started by someone connected to a backup player. No team wants to burn time on a controversy that didn't need to exist in the first place. And what makes this whole situation even worse is the timing. This is Dillon Gabriel's rookie year, the most important stretch of his entire career. And he's a backup quarterback trying to survive in the toughest league in the world. For players in his position, this isn't just another season. This is their one shot to prove they belong in the NFL long term. The numbers for quarterbacks who don't establish themselves early are brutal. If Dillon doesn't show enough to earn the trust of the Browns, or at least get the attention of another team looking for depth, he could be out of the league way faster than people realize. This is the window where he has to show professionalism, maturity, and growth every single day. He should be focused on learning the system, improving his mechanics, earning respect, and showing he can be a reliable asset even if he's not the starter. Instead, he's now attached to a national story involving his fiancée taking shots at the Browns, arguing with fans, and stirring up problems that have nothing to do with football. That's the worst situation a young backup quarterback can be pulled into. How does any of this help him? How does this drama make the Browns feel comfortable keeping him on the roster during the next round of cuts? How does this make any other NFL team think, yeah, let's bring him in and see what he can do? The truth is simple. It doesn't help at all. It does the opposite. Teams get nervous about players who come with drama, especially players who haven't proven themselves yet. NFL organizations don't just evaluate the tape, they evaluate the person. They look at character, maturity, and whether someone might accidentally bring problems into the building. They want steady energy, not someone surrounded by unnecessary noise. So when general managers and scouts dig into Dillon Gabriel's background, they're going to find this entire situation sitting right at the top. They'll see a backup quarterback whose fiancée publicly criticized the team, argued with fans, questioned decisions about Shedeur Sanders, and brought attention to issues that should have stayed far away from the headlines. That's exactly the kind of baggage teams fear bringing into their culture. But it gets even tougher for Dillon when you look at how this might hit inside the locker room. NFL locker rooms are their own universe, a space where veterans watch everything young players do, both on and off the field. Coaches pay close attention too, not just to arm strength or accuracy, but to professionalism, mindset, and whether someone helps or hurts team unity. So imagine how things look when a backup quarterback's fiancée is out there online acting like she knows what the locker room wants, implying players don't respect the starter, or hinting that the coaches made the wrong call by starting Shedeur Sanders. What message does all this send to Dillon Gabriel's teammates? How are they supposed to trust him when his fiancée is out there creating waves online? How is he supposed to build the relationships you need in an NFL locker room when the guys around him are reading headlines about his fiancée, arguing with fans, and taking shots at the organization they play for every day? And here's what makes everything even more frustrating. Dillon Gabriel was given a fair, clear, and professional chance to win the starting quarterback job. He got the first-team reps during the competition. The coaches told him exactly what they needed to see from him. The Browns used a draft pick on him because they believed he had potential and could push for playing time. Nothing was handed to him, but nothing was taken from him either. He got his 5 starts. He had real opportunities to show he could lead this team. And when those chances came, he simply didn't perform at the level needed to keep the job. That's not the team failing him. That's the reality of the NFL, where execution decides everything. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders did exactly what a hungry backup quarterback is supposed to do when he's chasing that starting spot. He stayed locked in like a true pro. He prepared like he was QB1 even when he wasn't. He attacked every practice rep like it mattered. He studied tape nonstop. And when his moment finally came, he delivered strong enough that the coaching staff had no choice but to roll with him. That's how the league works. That's the blueprint. A player stays ready, earns his shot, performs when the lights hit, and gets rewarded. It's the exact story every young player hopes to write for themselves in the NFL. But instead of acknowledging that reality, instead of pushing Dillon to grind, grow, and fight to win the job back, his fiancée is online complaining about the situation and throwing shade at the Browns. That's the part that stings the most for people watching this unfold. The wildest thing is how unnecessary this entire mess was. Nobody forced her to add a sarcastic caption about Browns' losses to a TikTok fashion video. Nobody forced her to jump into arguments with random users. Nobody forced her to claim she knew what everyone in the building wanted. Each decision she made added fuel to a fire that didn't have to exist. And now those choices are threatening Dillon Gabriel's career in real time. If she had simply stayed quiet, kept her frustrations private, or supported him without dragging the organization publicly, none of this would be happening. He'd just be another backup grinding for a chance, respected for staying locked in and ready. Instead, he's now being talked about across the country as the backup quarterback whose fiancée keeps creating drama on social media. And that is not the reputation a young player wants in this league. But what makes this even more dangerous for Dillon's future is that NFL teams now factor social media into player evaluations more than ever. In today's world, where every person connected to a player has a platform, teams know social media can become a problem fast. There have been several situations in recent years where the partner of a player caused major backlash, and the consequences hit the player and the team hard. Front offices learn from those moments. Smart organizations now ask new questions when evaluating talent, not just about ability, but about stability. They want to know, is this player bringing professionalism or problems? Is their personal circle going to create distractions? Are we going to have to deal with mini controversies every time something doesn't go their way? Is his significant other going to create headlines for all the wrong reasons? For a player like Dillon Gabriel, who's already climbing uphill just to stay in the league, having teams even ask that question can be devastating to his future. He needs general managers focused on his arm strength, his football smarts, his long-term potential, not wondering whether his fiancée is going to create distractions the moment things get tough. It isn't fair to Dillon, but it is the situation now. A situation created entirely by her social media choices. And when you step back and compare all this with how Shedeur Sanders and his family have handled his rise into the starting role, the difference is massive. Despite having huge attention on him because of who his father is, despite a massive online following, despite pressure most rookies never face, Shedeur has kept everything focused on football. His family, including his dad, one of the most well-known figures in all of sports, has supported him without stirring trouble or taking shots at the Browns. They've stayed professional, stayed steady, and let his game speak for him. That's what navigating the NFL spotlight the right way looks like. The harsh truth that nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking, is that Dillon Gabriel's fiancée just made a difficult situation drastically worse for him. He was already trying to prove he belongs in the NFL, already trying to show he can stick on a roster, already trying to fight his way into more playing time. Now he's battling all that, plus the fallout from a controversy he didn't even create. He now has to answer questions from reporters who love a juicy storyline. He has to sit down with coaches who are probably annoyed that a social media argument became their problem. He has to reassure teammates who might be wondering what kind of off-field energy he's bringing into the locker room. And he has to worry whether the front office now sees him as someone who might come with extra headaches instead of extra value. Every layer of this new pressure exists for one reason. His fiancée couldn't resist taking public shots at the Browns and jumping into arguments with random fans. And now Dillon Gabriel is the one who has to carry the consequences, right when he can least afford them.